This is going to be a great episode because we're talking about kids. And I love kids. I don't know about you, but I love kids. And I'm an Anna, so I really love kids. I love our hashtags. We couldn't just stick with one. We have train up a child, which comes from Proverbs. It's our spiritual one. And it means train up a child and they'll do everything you ever wanted. They will love you. They will never embarrass you. And they will take care of you when you're old. Or, let's just really be honest here. It's harder than it looks. Yes. Life as a ministry mom is hard.
Hi, my name is Lindsay, and I am Bill and Becca Bates' oldest child of 5. I live here in Sacramento with my husband and currently in backstage at our church because I thought, what better place to talk about being a pastor's kid than backstage? Growing up, my dad's office was right off backstage, and I have lots of memories in there because when we were young, being sick was not just something that you randomly felt or you thought that you had. You had to either have a legitimate fever or throw up. And that didn't get you a ticket home by any means. It got you a ticket to Dad's office. And you slept there, you held still there, you just waited for someone to come and talk to you after how many of our services there were. It was growing up. We were tough, we were strong, we made it. And my mom was always there to make sure that we didn't feel neglected or abandoned. It was actually kind of a special treat to be able to have Dad's office all to yourself. And we were sick, we didn't feel good, but Mom had a way of making sure that we felt loved, protected, and safe. Except for one time, my youngest sister, Whitney, we kind of left her at the church, and that was really traumatic. It still is to this day. We don't know whose fault it was, but she got left banging on the door. Little policeman came and knew my dad, which makes it even worse. She got a great stuffed animal out of it and probably a few extra topics at therapy, but all good because ministry is tough and it's hard, but being a mom in ministry is sometimes even harder than that. And my mom did the best job by making sure that we were all okay, making sure that we felt loved and cherished and we were the most important, and it hasn't changed one bit. We love you, Mom. Enjoy her today.
Isn't that special? That was Lindsay, and Lindsay was raised as a PK in our church, and she still loves Jesus, and she still loves the church. So I just want you to know, as ministry moms, sometimes we stress, like, are our kids going to love Jesus? Are our kids going to stay in church? Yes, they can, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I have 2 amazing moms here that are going to share with us. One is Lindsay's own mom, Becca, and the other is Heather. I can't wait for you to meet them. Hey. So let's meet our ministry moms. I'd like to introduce you to Becca. Becca is the amazing mom that left the child in the church. We heard about that in the video. Yeah. But I'm sure it was her husband, not her, that left her there. Yeah. But she is Lindsay's mom. She has 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys, and they all are raised, and they all love Jesus, and they love the church, and they love their mom and dad. So, hey, let's give her a hand. That's right. Yeah. And then we have Heather. Heather is in the trenches right now. Yes. Yeah. And she has 4 children, 3 boys and a little girl. So they're going to help us out today and just give you some practical advice on how it is to be a mom in ministry, to raise your kids to love Jesus and to love the church. So Becca, you have done a great job. They all are in ministry even. So can you just give me some practical things that you did that helped your kids to have a positive outlook on being a pastor's kid?
Yes. First of all, family was first. They knew family was first. We had vacations, we had meals, we had fun, and that really set the stage. Mm-hmm. And second of all, we kind of all pastored together as a family. As they grew up, we were just all involved in everything together, and it was really fun.
I remember one time we visited your church, and it was like she's saying that, like half the kids were the worship team, the other half were like at the door greeting. Aww. And I think, we think, oh, should we make our, well, obviously it didn't harm her kids to be a part of the vision and to be a part of the church. It wasn't like, well, that's mom and dad's thing. It's our thing, which probably incorporated them into really understanding the love of Jesus and the church.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, I wanted to ask you, Heather, I know when I first met you, first time I met Heather, she was pregnant. and she was pregnant with a little boy, and she was going through cancer.
Yes.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And since then,
Yeah.
she's beat cancer. She's adopted 2 more little boys.
Yes.
And where are your 2 sons from that you adopted?
Ethiopia.
From
Yeah.
Ethiopia. They're
2 adopted.
adorable.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she has this little girl,
Yeah.
Galilee,
Galilee.
at the
Yep.
end. So I just want,
Yeah.
you're in the middle of it now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
do you have any challenges that you feel that you've had with your kids, raising them in
Yeah.
ministry?
I like a million.
Okay,
I
now
think-
this is the truth. Yeah.
I think we have one child that's very challenging in general, and I have to really fight myself against feeling embarrassed about decisions he makes or things he does, and really just trying not to parent out of what other people think or
that's good.
how other, especially being in ministry, people are watching how you do things, and then they're watching your kids thinking. Some, not all, but some people are hoping they turn out a certain way. We obviously are also, but you can't control all these little decisions that our kids make. And so just trying to parent out of God's heart for my kids and not how other people view me or view the kids. So, yeah.
And that's really difficult at times
Yeah.
because people are
Yeah.
watching.
Yes. Yes.
And someone once told me, our kids' biggest achievements are their achievements, and their hardest failures are their failures.
Yes.
But we tend to want to take them on, or we tend to just want to take the achievements and
Yes.
not take the failures.
Yeah.
Or we take the failures and forget the
Right. Right.
But we need to I love that you said you want to parent them from the heart of God.
Yes.
And that's a huge
So true.
thing to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So Becca and Heather, I did some research about ministry kids and why they walk away from the faith. And this is what they said. They said there's a variety of reasons because all kids are different. But some are hurt by the way their parents are treated by others in the church. They said that some see the humanity in church and they see it as being what's that word?
Hypocritical.
Hypocritical, that word, yes. Some of them feel pressured to be perfect, so they learn how to put on that church face, but they don't really, really know how to be a Christ follower. And some, they struggle with how much time their father is at the church and not with them. And so, Becca, maybe you can share, was there some time that you really went through a hard time with your kids, and how did you help them walk through that as a PK, a pastor's kid?
Okay. Yeah, there's times in every pastor's life that maybe they aren't treated as well as they should be, or there's been something that happened in the church, and it's very normal for the kids to get angry or defensive or bitter or
Did you find your kids doing that for you and your husband?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How did they, were they like, did they not want to go to church, or were they angry?
More they wanted to go take them out.
Oh,
no.
go take them out. Hey, well,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
they're
but no.
all 5 different personalities, but there were deep hurts.
Yeah.
And we really had to help navigate that, not to go deep in them.
How did you do that? How did you navigate that?
We showed them by example that we had to forgive, and we had to keep going, and we could not hold grudges. And I think they all learned from that, and that this was part of suffering for Christ. And it was very hurtful to see them hurt.
Isn't that?
And it
yeah.
took time. It took time, because you don't just get hurt once, right, guys?
Yeah.
But today, they're solid in those things and in the ministries they're in.
So Heather, what's something that you have seen with your kids? They're not quite at that age where they're rebelling like that, except for your daughter. But
Yeah.
But what's been your hardest? I mean, you adopted 2 young boys. That must have
Yeah.
been difficult to
Yeah.
bring them in. How old were they when you adopted them?
They were 6 and 8.
6 and
Yeah,
8.
and now they're 11 and 13. And one of them has just presented us with huge challenges. I think as an adopted mom, you don't, I guess when we started the process, we didn't know exactly what we were getting into, and it's way over our heads. I feel like I need a degree to parent him, and we're like best friends with the principal at the school because he's always in the principal's office. And
Whoops.
he's the kid like doing horrible things on the playground, like saying bad words and stealing, lying, and it's so humbling. I think it's been, I try and just keep my perspective right. It's not always in the right place, but I think just trusting that God has a plan and he's going to equip me to parent him, and we mess up a lot because we don't know what we're doing, but I think staying humble is a big part of it, and just when we do something that maybe wasn't the best parenting move, my husband is very transparent, so it's like, Sunday, here we go. We're going to just share our big mistake on Sunday. And so there's really no secrets in our family, but which is probably good. And I think it's just been a journey, I guess. And we don't always look like the sweet pastor's family when we're in the parking lot in Los Angeles returning our rental car and they get in a fist fight. You know, it's like, yeah, we're pastors. This is what we do. Yeah. We deal with chaos. Yeah. But they do well. I mean, Galley's 3, she feels like she owns the whole family. So I think
your vulnerability and just being honest, because I think when the world sees, we're not saying we're perfect. We struggle with the same things you do. Our kids do beat each other up, but how we handle that.
Yes.
And maybe sometimes we don't handle it right, but we come back and try to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Well, I think both of you are doing an amazing job of training up a child. Your child are older now. They don't need the training wheels any longer.
Yes.
Yours might still have training wheels on,
Yeah.
but you both are doing an amazing job. And I just want to say to all the ministry moms out there in our audience, just know that, like she said, there's good days and bad days, but really dwell on the good.
Yeah.
And try to maybe not dwell so much on the bad. My daughter used to have a poster, you only remember the bad I do, you never remember the good. And I thought, ooh. So let's flip that.
Yes.
And I just want to encourage you as ministry moms, your kids can grow up and they will call you blessed.
Thank you for having me.
Wasn't that good? That was so good. Raising kids in ministry. They can grow up to love Jesus and to love the church. I wanted to leave you with a scripture verse. It's probably my life verse. I do have another one I like too, but this is one of my favorites. And it's found in Romans 12:12. And I think this is important for ministry moms. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. And I really want to encourage you as ministry moms, if you can just know that your kids are going to be okay, have that hope in Jesus. If you can just be patient, especially if they're under the age of 5. And then just pray over your kids. Pray over your kids. You know, when my girls were little, their favorite candy was Razzles. So I thought this was really interesting. I looked up the meaning of razzle. And you know what razzle means? It means to be exciting and complexed. And I thought, okay, that's what it's like to be a mom in ministry. It's so exciting to let your kids be a part of life with you in ministry, but it's really complex too, isn't it? But I just want you to know, with God, you can do everything. And each one of you in the audience, guess what you get to take home with you today? You get some Razzles! Woo-hoo! Yay! Enjoy! Woo-hoo! Enjoy! Razzles! Woo-hoo! Enjoy! Get one. There you go. Okay, ministry wives, let's go out and let's do this.